It'll pop up. We are live tonight, Halloween stream with Rebel Against Defeat, OneFastDak, and Father Saunders. Folks, tonight is a night of stories. They could be considered horror stories. They could be considered stories of awareness. Let's get into it. We got a couple comments before we get into it. We got D-Man50. He looks like he's taking his kid out. We got JR in the house, Matt Downer, another classic guy kicking it. He's always on. He's probably been on you guys' channels as well. Matt's a good dude. Polska Bob's in the house. Great. Island Hermit, Silver Bullet, Mysterio. Ooh, another one of your compadres. OneFastDak. Mysterio is in, I think he's in Alberta.
Is he? Right on.
I think so. All right, well, listen, let's get into this. Father Saunders has a story. We're going to talk about the awareness of female nature in today's modern landscape. I'm going to kick it to Father, and then we'll get into OneFastDak. Father, tell us about your life in the last 15 years.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a Gen Xer. Much like the other two guys, I think your guys are Gen Xers too. I'm in my 40s.
Yep.
Last 15 years, I spent a combination of married and I didn't rush into my marriage with my now ex-wife as we dated for 4 years. So it's not like it was a quick decision. So it also goes to show that if I were to advise anybody when they're, quote unquote vetting, I don't know how much better I could have done than 4 years, but it's still not a safe bet. But you're gonna be a hell of a lot better prepared, or better prepared to make a decision if you take the time on to do that. Not to say that you're not at risk. Every one of us are at risk. But anyways, it was 4 years before we got married. I was married in 2007, and we had been dating since roughly 2003. I'm probably going to get roasted on this one, but I did marry a single mother. That's why it took 4 years, because I wasn't ready to be a father. I actually ended the relationship 3 times because I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this shit, because I was 23 when I first met her. So I was still a kid, as far as what do you know about yourself when you're 23? Most people. You haven't really experienced a whole heck of a lot of life yet. I was still learning, and I was still very, very, very blue pill. The conditioning on Gen Xers was hardcore. It was thrown at us every single day. Get your education. That'll land that career. It'll land that job. Treat women with respect. Be nice to them. Be the good guy, and you'll have the woman that you want. There's a lot of other ones. And when that's pounded into your head and you see it on the Disney, on the programs, on the commercials, it's hard to break it. It still wants to creep back up. I don't think any of us are 100% immune to those type of situations or former ways of thinking, because it was such a normalization for us. It's almost just like it's part of us now. And you have to work every day to keep that suppressed, just kind of like our male urges are, you know what I'm saying? What you get better at as you age through experience.
Yep.
Right. I have a associate's degree in human services. I was going to computer programming, but I changed majors at community college. I went to community because I didn't want to have $30,000, $40,000 a year debt at a university. So at least I was smart on that aspect. And I'm also a licensed, well, I'm not licensed anymore, but a massage therapist. I went to school for that too. And as you guys know, I turned just a little bit on topic, a little bit off. I turned 30 when I went to join the military. They called me grandpa. Little bastards called me grandpa because I was 30 years old.
30 years old, wow.
Yeah. And I went, I wanted to be all hua and I want to be all, badass. So I went infantry because I thought I was going to be an airborne ranger. And after going through infantry basic and me being like, what in the hell did I sign up for? Because that shit was physically hard. At least it was for me. Mentally, I was good to go because I was already 30. So, a lot of the kids, a lot of them broke down into tears, because when you have 2.5 hour smoke sessions is what they call it in the military, where you're doing all these, different exercises that just break you down and break you down and break you down. A lot of kids, this is what was their first experience with life outside of mom and dad's home. So they're just like, what the hell? So we actually did have a pretty high attrition rate. I think just in my platoon alone, we had 11 people get kicked out. But
Jeez.
yeah, so I met my now ex-wife through work. She was a LPN at the time. She's a registered nurse now. She was an LPN
License.
at the time, which is a 2-year degree. And then, of course, BSN is bachelor's nursing.
Right.
So I used to take care of mentally handicapped people for about 5 years. I loved that job. But the management was a joke, as in most jobs. It was not the job, it's the people. The jobs I've had throughout my life, the jobs were fine. It was the people that made it that much harder to keep going back to. So anyways, we'd gotten to talking for quite a bit. We had known each other for a whole year before anything even happened. I didn't take her on a bunch of dates. I didn't do it the traditional way. We just talked and talked and talked. And she was, single mother. So very, 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 very attractive, guys. I can't say this enough. Very, very fit body. That aura she had, that energy she had was very attractive to me. It almost reminded me kind of like my mother, because, and a lot of people can relate to this, a lot of the qualities you look for in a woman are almost similar to some of the qualities your mother had, if you had a good relationship with your parents.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, we got separated. Believe it or not, she claimed abuse in 2016 once, and I was kicked out of the house for a month, and I lived with my parents. I should have known better, guys, but I didn't, because we're men. We think we can fix things. We think that maybe I did this wrong. Maybe I can do this better. We take accountability, because in this world, women and children can be careless. Men cannot.
Yeah.
Right.
So I should have known better, but I didn't. And I went back to her after a month of being away, which I had to stay in jail for 3-4 days. And then I couldn't be there for a month. And then it happened again, not 1 year later in 2017, this time for real. And OneFastDak actually forgot one of the charges against me was terroristic threats, felony. I had to fight that.
Holy shit.
Child abuse without injury, terroristic threats, and domestic assault. So they dropped the terroristic threats, thank God. And they got the felony taken off of the child abuse. Yeah. And, of course, the domestic, 2 counts, not 1, of domestic. They went back a year when we got into a fight prior, and she had called and had the doctor live in the courtroom to explain what had happened. And what had happened is she had gotten physical with me, and like I had told you, I did push her. Mm. Well, she ran into the corner of the wall when I pushed her away from me, because you can only take so much, guys. And she had hurt her rib, I believe. So they brought that up, even though it was a year prior, to add on to what the charges in courtroom had when I went through my divorce. So it was terroristic threats. Yep, that's felony charge. Luckily, I have no felonies, guys. I was able to get out of that by taking what's called a plea deal. And a lot of people need to understand that I'm not going to fault anyone who takes a plea deal or who wants to fight. But when they're threatening to have your little kids up on the stand, when your own lawyer says almost 100% of the time to me, if it comes down to a he said, she said, it has never ended well for the guy in his entire experience. Never. So when all that came up, I swallowed my pride, if you will, because I wanted to fight it, and took the plea deal, because I was not going to have the chance of my kids being up there. The lawyer, then it would have went to a jury trial as well. Yeah. I don't know how that's going to play. And then the lawyer saying that, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go with the plea deal.
What was the plea deal?
The plea deal was the felonies I told you guys about were taken down to misdemeanors, and they dropped the terroristic threats. Okay. Unfortunately, the domestic and the child abuse without injury. This is a real, excuse me, crime, guys. I've got the court documents right here. And what that is, I asked my lawyer, I said, what the hell even is that? I said, if you can't scold your kids, if you can't spank your kids, if you can't make them do exercises, put them in timeout, I mean, how am I supposed to raise my kids? You tell me how. And
Father, hold on 1 second. How many tours did you do in the Middle East?
I just did 1 tour in Iraq for a year. It was Father's Day.
Did that come into the courtroom about your patriotism?
They used that against me to prove mental instability. Yes. My PTSD was used against me in the court of law. And so me fighting for this country was used against me in a court of law to show that she was more the stable, fit parent. And I think that did come into play, because obviously the outcome, as you guys know, was not favorable to me. The hardest parts, guys, was I had to go 834 days without seeing my children.
Say
830.
that again. Say that again. 830. That's almost 3 years.
834 days, and it gets worse because when I did get a be back in their life, I had to do what's called reintegration therapy, where my boys and I were in a room with another person, and we had to do eight sessions total that I had to pay out of pocket for. After that, we had to do I had to do parenting classes. I also had 4 years of probation on top of the charges that you guys heard of. 4 years, and it's not done yet.
What state is this?
Nebraska. So
Nebraska is more of a red state.
Yeah, it is.
Than a blue state. And Father Saunders is dealing with this. Guys, listen to this. An Iraq veteran took on the single mother with a kid, is going through allegations up the yin yang. How does a man win? Again, ask yourself this before you tie the knot.
Absolutely. 834 days before I got to see him in a supervised setting. And then after that, I had to do 8 supervised settings for 2 hours, then 8 supervised settings for 4 hours. And they even walked into the bathroom when I helped my young 6-year-old at the time. They would not leave my sight. They would walk with me into the bathrooms to make sure that, whatever the hell is on their head isn't going on. It was the most humbling thing I ever had to do, guys. It humbled the shit out of me. And it was very soul crushing. I didn't even want to start because I knew I was going against society. I knew I was going against lawyers. I was going against the judge. I was going against the courts. I was going against her entire family. I almost didn't even start. I didn't see that pinhole of light when I first started this. I was in a real dark spot, guys, real dark place. Because if you take military men, deployed guys, and divorced guys, and this happens, your rate of self-deletion is very, very, very high. And
we're surprised you're still here. I mean,
I am too. I really am.
Yeah.
But somehow, some way, I was able to keep going, keep fighting, keep going, keep fighting. It was the hardest thing that I ever had to do, and I was in some dark spaces. So all said and done, guys, before I got to the traditional every other weekend, I had to go 1,221 days before I finally got to the every other weekend with my children.
Oh.
Wow.
This is probably one of the most severe cases against a man I've ever heard. Just the threats, what is happening, especially in the state. Now, if this was Washington or Massachusetts, I mean, sure, this makes complete sense.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what you got going for you. You fought it out. You're still alive. Most guys would have self-deleted themselves. 80%.
Yeah, a lot of them would. And I was part of that. I was part of that 80% women-initiated divorces. I was part of that. I got divorced. I didn't do the divorce because as a man, we want to fix shit. We want to return on our investment. We don't like to lose. What man likes to lose? Nobody. I've been competitive my whole life. And, so we wanted to fix things. And I lost my train of thought here. That happens quite often. What was I saying before that?
We want to fix things.
We want to fix things. So you almost have to put a gun to a guy's head loaded and be like, look, if you don't leave now, I'm going to kill you. It almost takes that before a guy's going to be like, okay, I tap out.
Mm-hmm.
We will take, because in my opinion, men feel and love deeper than any woman I've ever known, in my opinion. The only exception might be your own mother. But with people that I've dealt with, and I've dated a lot before the marriage and a little bit after the marriage, from my experience, men feel harder and love deeper than women because we're not grounded in the fantasies. We're grounded in, hey, there's the way the world should be, but there's the way that the world freaking is. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the world that I live in. That's the world that most of us live in. There's consequences, for everything that we do. We don't have that solipsistic mentality where it's just us. Nothing exists outside of this bubble that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And we also know that, shit rolls downhill. And our decisions can affect not just me or one other person. It can affect a branch of different people. And we think of all these things because we're analyzing stuff. Like my mind never shuts off. It never has, ever. It's just always constantly thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, with all the things that I've already said that I've went through, the fear of the unknown was probably some of the hardest parts, with which Rad, I'm sure you went through as well with all the court stuff. You're just like, what's going to happen? What's in my control? I can't do this. I've done this. What else can I do? What's going to happen here? What is this, the lingo in the world of law. What does this mean? What does that mean? What does this mean? So you're always constantly contacting your lawyer, and lawyers are not cheap, which we've talked about too, Rad. If you initiate a divorce, guys, here in Nebraska, you have to have a $5,000 retainer fee just to get started. That's just a start. And then mine ended up costing $49,000 by the time.
Oh, that's cheap.
Yeah, wow. You did more than that, Rad. But it's not just $49,000 in divorce. I lost not one, but both of my properties. Explain that one.
Yep. Yeah.
We had two houses. How could I not live in one while they live in the other? Because to me, that's logical. Why? Well, anyways, that didn't work, guys. And on top of the child support that I paid in the past 4.5 years, that's over $100,000 plus the loss of two houses, plus less time with my kids that I'll never get back.
Yeah,
those are the realities.
And people think divorce, the lawyer and the court fees are one. No, the lawyer and the court fees are 20%. What you lose on the back end, you can never. I mean, you can make up the half that you have to give away. And sometimes, guys, it's not 50-50. A judge can rule 70-30. You understand that, right? The law mandates 50-50, at least in the states. Most states are the same. There's probably some liberal state that could. But a judge can say, you know what? OneFast or Father Saunders, 70-30. 70% goes to the woman, 30% goes to the man. They can do that.
Yeah.
So the reality is everyone's got to be aware. So I know time is short with you. You got 10 minutes left. But, Father, if you were talking to your 20-year-old self, what would you say?
I've actually got just a little bit more time than that, so we're good to go there if you guys want me.
Good.
If I was talking to myself when I was 20 years younger, knowing myself when I was 20 years younger, I was like a sponge. So whenever someone older talked to me, I took it all in. I was like a deer, in the headlights. I'm like, tell me everything, because it didn't really happen in our time because we didn't have the connectivity that we do today. And the people we did have connections to probably weren't going to talk to you like we're talking to each other now, at least, for the vast majority. So I would have pulled him aside, 20-year-old me, and 20-year-old me would have listened, but still probably, I can't say 100%, but still would have, like, no. That's just his experience. I can do better. I can change it. I can find the good woman. I can do this, that. It's almost like you have to be destroyed. And most guys, you have to be destroyed before you can understand what's going on and really see it. You've got to go through it. You've got to go through those heartbreaks, sometimes multiple times, before you finally wake up and be like, you know what? Yeah, those people were right. But I would have told him, and this is of course implied, and I hate when people say this, well, you wouldn't have your kids, if you didn't. It's implied that I love my children. Okay,
absolutely.
But if you asked me 20 years ago, would I do it again? No, I would not do it again. I would not do it again. And I'm
the same way. I wouldn't do it again. No, and I love my kids, like as you love your kids. I wouldn't do it again. Just based on the laws, the legalities, no way.
No way in hell. I would have told him that any little types of, quote unquote red pill knowledge to pay. Matter of fact, I would take him out. I'm like, you're going with me for 8 hours, whether you like it or not. And we're going to sit and we're going to talk. This is what's going to happen. This is what life is. You've always had it in the back of your mind that something wasn't right, because I always had that. Like, this doesn't add up. Whether it's programming, whether it's the corporate speak and the corporate bullshit that you put up with and you see, or the hard work you do that doesn't get noticed, but the people who half-ass it, it's almost like right is wrong, wrong is right. Mm-hmm. The people that you observed yourself that did not earn what they were getting it, while what you did were not getting what you should have been getting. And so the little red pill bits were there back in the day. I just kept refusing to believe it. So I'm like, no, that can't be that way. It can't be that way. And I was very, very happy. I was happy my whole life, always smiling all the time. Everything was fun. I'm introverted, but I can be extroverted very, very well. I have no problems talking to people or being in a group, if that makes sense. But I like to be by myself more. But a lot of those things, as more and more of these things happened to me, it was like it just kept chipping away at the happiness or the optimism or the hope, all that stuff. It would chip away and chip away and chip away. And like I said, when I was really down and out, it took a lot. And I did 5 years of mental health through the VA because I'm not afraid to say, hey, I need some help here. A lot of guys are just like, no, I got this. I don't need this. I don't need help. And I'm not saying, God forbid, don't go to a marriage counselor. Don't do that shit. Okay.
No.
We've all pretty much done it. And it's almost like a tag team on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be a tag team on you.
Yeah.
You're the one who's wrong because you got a swinging dick between your legs. Just like when you walk in a courtroom. Oh, you got a guy, you got a dick. Okay. You're guilty. You go ahead and go.
Yeah.
It's like that immediately.
Yeah.
And my language isn't too bad right now, is it?
You're good.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay. Well, I know Rad. I've only seen like maybe one video where you had one of those days. And, I'd commented on your videos like, man, you must have had a day today, man, because you let it rip. But you're usually pretty laid back with the language, which is really cool. So I want to make sure I'm following that. But yeah, all my experiences that I tell my 20-year younger self, I would say, look, stop chasing women. Stop improving yourself for the sake of impressing women. Just do it for yourself. Focus on saving your money more, because we've all been there, and I wasted money chasing tail, just like everybody else has. And I would have told myself to buy stock in Google. This would have been in the 90s. I would have said a lot of different things to them. But getting married to a single mother, even though I will always look at that as a honorable thing to do, because I see the right in the person's heart and the caring, which is not wrong. It's important that men know being good, kind, and caring, that's not wrong. It's the world that throws that against you and uses you as a doormat.
Yeah.
That's what the issue is. There's nothing wrong with being a decent, good, common courtesy, mannerly person. It's just that when people see that, they want to mistake kindness for weakness, and they will use that against you. So try not to lose that. If you're going through some shit now, I promise you, eventually it gets better. It's just the eventual part that sucks. And I coined that. So if someone makes money out of it, I want 10%. That's my quote. Eventually everything gets better. It's the eventual part that sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Well said.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Guys, listen to this. This is a man who's, I think this is probably the most severe story I've ever heard. Married a single mother, wanted to do the right thing, raise a child who was fatherless, loved the mother. I will never, ever question the love that you had for your mother. Served his country, was lambasted by the court system as a T with an ist on the end of it. I don't want to say that word. Was also couldn't see his children for 834 days. I couldn't see my kids for 8 days, and I was dying. 834 days in Nebraska of all states.
No.
Folks, you think your life is going to be better finding a woman to marry in this day and age? I say 98% are not recommended. I'm not a fatalist, but 1% to 2% are decent. I have subscribers that are 1% to 2%ers, but the reality is this: you got to be aware, you got to be careful. Then we'll get into one fast story after this. But Father Saunders, amazing story, and the fact that you are still around to give advice to guys that are your age, younger, older, amazing. Especially being an Iraq vet. You look like you're probably 6 foot or taller.
I'm 6 foot even, 197 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. So,
I love it.
I got
this story.
I got that from Chris Jericho back in the day on WWF. I stole it from
Chris Jericho, Vince McMahon. Your story is going to live on this. This is one of the reasons I want to do it, is to show folks that, like, you could have an Iraq veteran that served his country well, that saw probably the most horrific scenes in life, came back, wanted to make it work, and was lambasted by his own government who he served. What chance do you have in this legal system if you go on a three-way with a wife and the court to come out ahead? Men are considered toxic, regardless. And it's proven. So we just need to be aware of this, and I think all of our channels just talk about, guys, be aware. You have the information. Now you do what you need to do with it. The fantasy doesn't live. Disney is just Disney. It's a story that lives in fantasy land.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, along with the time that I spent away from the kids, it wasn't just that I couldn't see them. I actually have protection orders that I have the court papers for. She renewed it every year for 3 years. Now, I couldn't go to the school. I couldn't go to the sporting events. I couldn't go to the Christmas pageants or the musicals. I mean, I couldn't call. I couldn't write. I could not be anywhere near them or I'd end up in jail. Period. End of story. And they live in the same town, just across the road. And that's what made it that much harder, too. They were right there. It's not like I lived an hour away and I could kind of block it out because I didn't have to see it. I mean, they were right here. And it was the two properties that we lost. The newest home that I had bought for them was based on my VA loan that I got for them, and that was taken from me too. I get a monthly benefit from injuries in Iraq. They used that and added that on to my full-time job when they determined child support. So the service to my country, for someone who never wore the uniform, never sacrificed, never went to war, she was allowed to benefit even further by adding that money I got every month on top of my already paying job to determine their child support. And I had to fight it, guys. They took 37% of my income every month at one time. It wasn't 39 like I told you, Dak. It's 37. And I had to fight, which means I had to get another retainer fee and fight it to get it down to 25% that it is now. And you hear horror stories of people 40, 50, 60%. It's a struggle living off 25. I mean, just imagine all you guys there that have your jobs take 25% of your income and just throw it away and then live your life the same as you do now. I guarantee most people couldn't do it. You know, it would take some big changes to
how old are the kids now, or how long's it been since this happened?
So this happened in February of 2017. Now, my wife had 3 children prior. I adopted 2 of them. And then I had 3 children, so I actually had 6 that I was responsible for. So they were 9, 7, and 4 when this started. They're 13, 11, and 8 now, my biological 3. The 2 oldest are 23 and 21. My 23-year-old's actually in Missouri right now at basic training. And the 21-year-old's here in the same town. The other child, her daughter, I don't have parental rights to or anything like that. She was not adopted because I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, it was very interesting to say the least.
Amazing story. 834 days, $49,000 in legal costs, not even considering. Those aren't the costs, guys. That's 20% of a divorce. And the fact that you were injured in Iraq, I won't ask you about your injuries, that you had to give your injury pay that the government is entitled to pay the veterans that get injured. My brother's a Purple Heart in Iraq. Is ridiculous. Are men valuable?
Oh, without men, the world collapses. So yes, men have value.
Men are valuable.
Yeah.
But men are not valuable to the government.
No, they're not. Your utility that's just used until that tool is no longer useful and you're replaced by a new tool who doesn't know what the old tool has unless they have tools like we're using right now to spread the word.
Yeah, you're expendable.
Yeah, you are. You're expendable. Whether it's in relationships or in the workplace or anywhere else, no one's going to give a shit about a guy. Period. End of story. No one cares. I'm not going to say no one, but the vast majority do not care because you're a guy and you're just expected to do whatever it is you do. And by God, you better add to society or we're going to kick you out and shun you from it. Even though everything that has been built, engineered, maintained, protected in this society is men. 98% of it, if not more. So when I hear people see, a lot of women say, or a lot of people say, we need men like a fish needs a bicycle. I'm sure you guys have heard that. Well, I need you like a freaking submarine needs a screen door. So right back at you. All right. It's ridiculous.
So before you go, Father, tell us, give an idea of where you are today and where you're going to be tomorrow.
Okay. I still got plenty more time unless you want to kick me off.
No, you go ahead as long as you want because I don't think one fast is taking kids trick or treating.
Okay. Unfortunately,
I'm going to answer the door.
Well, unfortunately, it was also very humbling to go from owning 2 properties because I know what it's like to have $2 and change in your bank account when shit's paid for. I started there, and I built myself up to owning 2 properties and having money in the bank, all that stuff. I lost both of those. If it wasn't for my mother, I'd be homeless. I had to move back in with my mother. My father passed away in 2013. So it's just my mom. And without her, what would I have done? I didn't have anywhere else to go. So it's very humbling, guys, very humbling. But I'm saving more money now. As a matter of fact, in March, outside of child support, I will be debt free. So, and that's with all the money I told you guys that I've spent. So that's how down and dirty I get with budgeting. So I am okay, and I will continue to get better. But just know that without the amount of hours I worked and the help from the VA for my injuries, it'd be another half decade or more before I'd be even where I am right now. So me doing that has helped get me that stepping stone to continue to better myself. And I'm going to be okay. I'll be debt free in March, provided nothing major happens, major stuff. So right now I do live with my mom. I think I will probably purchase the house from my mother and take it on, because my mother is now seeing somebody after 8 years of dad being gone, which is awkward in itself, guys. I only know my dad as being the only man in my mom's life. They were married 42 years, which you are not going to see shit of anymore. You're not going to see that. Most marriages last 2 if you're lucky. But that's where I am now. Like I said, March, it'll be paid off, and then I will continue to save the money that I use, that I throw out the principal balance of, which is how I was able to get ahead that so quickly, is throwing that extra money at the principal of the last bill that I have. So that's where I am now. So the kids come here. We redid the basement. We spent $15,000, $20,000 redoing the basement, so the kids all have their own rooms and stuff. So that's where I'm at right now.
Cool.
Well, you know what? I mean, here's what I take. Completely depleted by all means, based on your background. Number one, thank you for your service. Those that are in the chat, appreciate that. Injured by your service, took on a single mother, and now is bouncing back. So the reality is, someone can go through all of this and bounce back. All right. That's what we want.
Yeah.
That's the awareness. That's the piece that we want to help guys understand.
Yeah.
We also want to help guys prevent these issues. And awareness is key. So I always wanted to hear, I've heard your story bits and pieces over the last year and a half, Father Saunders, and it's been great. Which is a telltale sign. Guys, if you want the most severe potentiality of what the before red pill does, listen to this story. I didn't have to deal with that. I had plenty of money. I remember I budgeted, was it $250,000 or $300,000 just in my divorce?
Yes, man.
That's what I budgeted. I said, if I got to that point, I would say, I'm done.
Wow.
That was an amount of the whole deal. We did well with real estate and so forth. But I budgeted. Didn't get to that point, but it got to a point that was like, it was all principle for me. I could live in a gutter. I could live in a doghouse. I could eat top ramen for 10 years. And so I'm just saying, the reality is you've bounced back. You've gone through something that a lot of guys don't understand this, especially young kids.
No.
And I'm glad you shared it. Any other advice you'd give to the guys out there?
Just know that you're not alone. Okay. There are people that have went through some real shit, and you will get better, but it's going to try every fiber of your body. That's spiritually, mentally, financially, emotionally, all of it. It's going to be put to the absolute test. It will. And it might even take you longer than me to recover. I don't know. I don't have a perfect answer for everybody, but just know that you will get through it. I've gotten through it. I know people that have gotten through it, and it's going to suck. There's no easy path. There's none that I'm aware of. There's no easy path. And I'm not like we do on your channel, Rad. We don't hate women. You understand the risks involved. I guarantee if you were to put on a whiteboard the pros and cons, you're going to have 5 cons for every 1 pro in today's day and age, if not more. So just think about Think about your life being completely turned upside down every time you think that marriage might be a deal for you, that you got the right one, that you got the good one. Maybe she will prove that she's a good one for 10 years, maybe 15. But it can flip, that switch can flip at any time. It's not that all women will, it's that all women have the power to do so at any time. That's the message I want to get out there.
Love it. I'm so glad you guys jumped on today. This is valuable advice that's going to live forever. And it's
I almost got a little bit nervous. I'm like, oh shit, I'm a little giddy here. It's like I'm going to kiss a girl for the first time. Here we go, man.
Yeah, here we go.
No, I'm going to stay on.
Time too,
I would love to stay on and listen to you guys keep talking too, if you guys don't mind. I didn't even look at the comments. I was too busy yapping.
No.
I got so many comments coming through. We got the greatest audience out there that are number one.
Well, your audience is really good. Your audience is really good.
We just think that, we don't do this for monetary gain. We do this for literally helping others. Mm-hmm. And that's always been my theme. What can I do to give back? Because I learned from Big John, was my savior at the time, Sandman, Angry MGTOW, several others. But, we're so glad you're here, because you're going to be the next guy that's going to influence several people just based on the story alone. Yeah, so appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it.
I hope I do. And I don't know about, I don't know what I could do on my channel that people like you guys don't already do better. So I don't know if I'm going to start that back up or not. I don't know, but there's so many guys out there that do such a great job. I'm like, what could I even add to it? So this is a good platform here, me just coming on with you guys and collaborating too, because you guys already have your thing, your niche that you do. And so I don't know if I'm going to upload or not. I do understand you for sure.
I think hey, you got to get your channel up. It's as simple as that. You could talk about soda pop. You could talk about kettle chips and ketchup chips from Canada. You talk about Iraq, but the value you bring, and I tell this to everybody, every guy should have a channel, because it's going to help somebody. I get guys that have texted me, emailed me, I'm sure OneFast as well, guys that literally have called me. They're literally 10 minutes away from self-deleting.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're telling me about 3 kids, 20 years of marriage. I've been through it, guys. I've been through it. I've had 4 cruisers show up at midnight. I know what it's like. I've never had to experience what you both have had to. We'll get to OneFast story in a second, but every person's, whoever is listening, if you have a story, I don't care if you're 19 or 99, put it out.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because the next generation.
Thank you all in the comment section. Sorry, I didn't even pay attention to it, so no offense to all you guys commenting. I was too busy yapping.
Yeah, that's okay.
I can't respond because the whole today's stream was all about your guys' stories and what these stories can bring light to, regardless of marriage, single women. I mean, I've gone out in the last 6 years with single women with kids, but I never married them. I never got, committed to them. But, there are issues, and men want to build. And so, but building no longer is considered a quality attribute in society.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And I want to thank you for allowing me to be on your show and be with you guys. I appreciate that. I appreciate the respect, because you never know. You never know with people. I could talk real good. You didn't see my face yet. Is this guy going to be a freaking weirdo when he comes on here? Maybe he's just
no way.
We got
a good audience.
Yeah.
Well, listen, let's jump into OneFast story. OneFast has spent a little bit more time in the Iron the Iron Palace than you did. But OneFast, weren't you with the single mother?
I've been with a few single mothers, brother.
Okay. I'm gonna let you take the steering wheel now.
Yeah, I've had 33 of them.
Here,
so
you need this. You need that. There you go.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to say thank you on behalf of Canada. Thank you for your service, Father Saunders. If it wasn't for you guys, we'd be in shit. I'll tell you that right now. Thank you
very much.
I'd just like to say hi to the chat. There's a few guys in the chat I want to just say hi to. Successful Endeavors. Hello, sir. I'm glad you're here. Who else? Megtel Life is in the chat, guys. Good to see you, Megtel Life. Hope you're doing well. As you know, he's going through cancer, so we wish him well, and it's good to see you here, brother, for sure. Of course, Island Hermit's here. Geez, everybody's here, so I just like to say hi to everybody. So I'll start with my story. My marriage wasn't really doesn't compare to Father Saunders, that's for sure. I have no children. I'm 47, and again, I'm up here in Alberta, Canada. My marriage, I have no kids. My marriage only lasted, 7 years. It wasn't a horrible marriage at all. I wasn't the greatest husband, guys. I'll be honest with you. I was on a lot of drugs. I was on Oxycontin through the whole marriage and stuff. So it was kind of ugly, for her. But, in the end, what happened basically is we put her through a lot of school. We put her through university and stuff to get education. About 3 years of university education, we put her through it and stuff. And, it was going, not too bad. So then what happened, basically what brought into my divorce is that the day she graduated, she came in and said, "It's over. I'm leaving you." So money well spent kind of thing, right? So basically she left. And of course, thankfully, our divorce only cost us $100, right? Because there was no children involved, man. You know what I mean? And it was like, what do you call it? It was like one of those rare good divorces, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
You take what you want, I take what I want. She left me the house. Of course, she didn't want anything to do with the mortgage, right? So she left me the house and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, my marriage was, my divorce wasn't a nightmare like you guys, anything near. What happened next after the divorce, of course, I was living in the house alone, and just really lonely and destroyed and everything. So of course, I started on the dating sites and stuff like that, and that really didn't go well at all. So the one story I'll just tell you today is there was a girl across the street. She was younger than me, about 12 years younger than me. And I really fell for her. And she had 3 children with 3 different fathers.
There you go.
So, yeah. So, of course, I started simping. I had a horrible case of sympnosis back then, really bad. So I took a liking to her and the kids. And, I would buy them groceries and take care of the kids and all this kind of stuff. So then I made the mistake, and this is on me too, right? I lent her a bunch of money. So after that, she got really distanced, from me. So I texted her, and I was very nice, very proper. I did not threaten her in any way, shape, or form. I said, "Can you please start paying me back the money you owe me? Give me $20 a week or whatever you can, right?" And so she didn't take a liking to this, and she called the police. She told the police, because I couldn't download any text or anything, so she went and told the police that I actually phoned her on the telephone and threatened her for this money. So, and in Alberta, it's really strict here. Like with women, like if you even breathe on them the wrong way, you're gone. Like you're totally gone here. So cops came and got me, and I was in jail. They threw me in jail. And I was there 3 months. I spent 3 months in jail because of it. And up here, basically, I took a plea deal too, kind of thing. If I wouldn't have taken the plea deal, I could have waited. Canada here, I could have waited up to a year for a trial, if I wanted to plead innocent. So, of course, I took the deal. I pled guilty and got out in 3 months. And since then, that's when I first discovered, discovered MGTOW, really. So,
yeah.
But, the false accusations, guys, that'll really get you. You got to be really careful, very, very careful. I wish I would have had something to record it or something, but live and learn, I guess, right?
How many months
did I spend in jail?
Yeah.
3.
3 months.
Yeah.
Did the Royal Canadian Mounted Police come to you?
The city police did. Same thing. Yeah, same thing. But in Canada here, they have you over a barrel, right? So if you don't take their plea deal, you can sit in jail up to a year waiting for a trial. And then during that year, you're going to have trials to come up and you're fighting for bail. You know what I mean?
So what do you tell the guys today? You're in your 40s. What do you tell them? What would you tell yourself?
What would I tell them? That's a good question. I would tell myself, be more careful. And you know what? I would tell myself not to be so giving, like not to be such a sucker kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? You know, like don't be such a nice, I guess it's hard to say, like don't be such a nice person all the time. You know, you're going to get burnt, you know. Take care of yourself first. Look out for yourself first and foremost. And just be very careful who you pick in, you know, to bring into your life. You know, be very, very careful. You know, with women and anybody, really.
Yeah. I mean, guys, we're not talking about one-offs. We're talking about very common scenarios. I've had 4 guys self-delete themselves in the last 4 years based on a relationship. Could have been marriage, could have been not seeing the kids. You know how many guys leave the courthouse and take themselves out within the first 48 hours? It's a staggering statistic because they've realized they've lost everything.
Yeah. If you go back in my channel, you'll see a video that I did on that, actually. It's called My Friend Randy. Mm-hmm. So if everybody goes back and checks that out, then that's a good story about a really special, great friend of mine who sadly did that.
Yeah. Father Saunders, post your channel for the folks out there.
Yeah.
There ain't hardly F all to watch, brother. It's supposed to be back from 2013 when anyway, if you look up Father Saunders, I'm sure it will pop up. I will think hard again, and probably in a format like you're doing right now. This is probably what you would see. I'm not an editing guru or anything like that by any means.
Hey, my computer is 10 years old. So people say to me, get a microphone, you know.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not in it for the money or the glorification. I'm in it to help people and learn from people. It helps me. You know, I listen to OneFast channel. I listen to Call Me Coons. I listen to MGTOW Cowboy, Greg Adam. I listen to tons of people. You know what it is? It just reinforces that I'm not crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and people need to hear that, and they need to see it, because I think a lot of people do think that they get so down. They get so down, like, man, am I the only one? Why? Just why? Just that one word is enough for people to go down that path that we're talking about. Is why? Why? I don't get it. Why?
Just both of your stories are going to save tons of people. They're going to realize, even before they even get in relationships with potential single mothers, even before they realize tying the knot. We did the right thing, guys. We got married. We wanted families, or we wanted to append or, add to a family and create a legacy. We did what was right. And I think people don't understand that. Men, and that's why we hate to lose. We don't want to give everything we built and burn it down. Because there's more value in the experience. However, we're against the wall right now with the court system.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's just, I can't, and you know what sucks too? RAD is that it's soul crushing to have to teach our own children this. For me as a father, I hate the fact that I have to tell my children, to a degree that I can be in their age, that the things that we're talking about now. I don't want to have to tell them that as his father. What father wants to tell their son this shit?
I took my boys to sushi today, and I tell them all the time. And I talked to my 20-year-old. He'd be 21, 4 or 5 months. And I said, what's it like dating these women? You know what he said to me? Dad, they have so many people texting them, so many guys texting them, that so much attention. They're telling them they're beautiful. I said, you can't compete.
You cannot
work
compete.
On yourself. Work on yourself. The world is completely flat. And, we don't hate women. And I did a video the other day called You're Not Special. Yep. The reason I did that was because people think their stories are unique. Now, they might be unique in the sense that maybe there's a couple different avenues you went down that I didn't, or I did that you didn't. But the reality is we wouldn't be talking today if we were special, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're very common in the fact that we were rowing the canoe and somebody was punching holes in that canoe and sabotaging it every paddle and then jump ship.
Yeah, exactly. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, you know. There really is. My advice.
It might only be a friggin' little pinhole.
Yeah. It might just be a little pinhole.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember when I first moved out of a very big house, one of my dream houses. It was actually my dream house, 5,000 square foot house, half acre, beautiful house. And moved into an apartment. It was the nicest apartment in the county, the best I could find for my kids. And I was that first night, and I'm sure Father Saunders and OneFastDak knows what it's like. But that first night, without just the noises, just the noises you would hear, the people getting water out of the sink or opening the refrigerator, whatever. That was extremely difficult. And guys that go through it don't talk about that. They don't talk about the loneliness that sets in within literally hours.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why these channels existed. You know, Big John's channel saved so much about my life. I watched his channel religiously. I watched the same video 3-4 times, and I would hear myself in what he was talking about. Oh my gosh, that's me. That's what I went through. That's how I feel. Someone else feels that way? I thought I was the only guy. I was, in fact, worried, and I wouldn't reach out to people. I had a good friend that was divorced, but I wouldn't reach out to most people because I was embarrassed. I was a failure in my family, and I was watching channels telling me that they were going through the exact same, if not worse. And so thank you for sharing your experiences, and anybody that puts their channel up there. It is a godsend.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't know what to do now. Do we do what you usually do, Rad, and you just start reading people's comments and do, or what do we do now? I don't want to get off. I don't have to. If you guys are still,
there's so many comments. I read everybody's comments, and those in the comments, I'm trying to just kind of just highlight it, letting you know that you're hearing it. They're shouting out to OneFast, they're shouting out to Father Saunders.
Yeah.
They're talking about, stay away. Know what you're getting into. Yeah. Guys, if you go into crocodile-infested waters, you better know what the fuck you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I see Polska Bob in the chat there. I just want to say, how you doing, Bob?
Looks like Dak has better hair genetics than us, Rad.
Yeah, I won't lose my hair. I won't lose my hair.
There you go.
What happened?
Bald is beautiful.
Yeah, see.
I'm just glad I have a decently shaped head, man.
Yeah. Well, I'll trade my body for your guys's because I'm pretty heavy. I gotta smarten up. I gotta smarten up.
You gotta lay off the coffee, Chris. I had to do that one time. I was 37 pounds heavier than when I got divorced.
Yeah.
That's where you go. You eat.
Yeah.
You escape through life. And I decided then and there she would not, the circumstance would not beat me. I would beat it. Mm-hmm. And that's why I created this moniker, Rebel Against Defeat, rebelling against being defeated. Yeah. I'm not going to let this defeat me ever.
No, but that's awesome. Watching you two guys just gives me more motivation to lose weight and just, be better. So I'm really going to change my life that way.
So you only get one body to live this life.
Exactly.
You get just one.
Yeah, and I beat mine all to hell, and I haven't been respecting it at all. So it's time.
I know what it's like to get opened up for lower back surgery too. So I've had spine surgery, and I've been weightlifting for 27 years now. I finally just stopped because I was tired of the nagging injuries. So I box now 3 times a week, and believe it or not, I take my son with me, my 13-year-old, because we're in a position now where the talking is better, and I'm able to see them on not just the prescribed days that I'm allowed to see my children. So he goes with me 3 times a week. I plan on doing the 2 younger ones too, but I never wanted to stop being in shape. I've always done it, always. Okay, we grew up watching Jean-Claude Van Damme, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Blood sport.
all that stuff. And I was just fascinated by seeing what, a man's body could be like. And I wanted that.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And I love the boxing. The boxing is some of the hardest workouts I've ever done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to stop staying in shape, but weightlifting's not cutting it as much anymore.
Yeah.
Because I was all about it. I was all about that life. My heaviest was 230.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was straight. I could get pictures sometime. I was definitely all about it.
Yeah.
At the same time, I didn't ever feel like I was actually fit. When I was 230, I looked good. I felt good. I filled out my shirts, but I'm like, I couldn't run a mile to save my life.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to have this perfect balance. How do I do this?
Yeah.
And there's another thing that I do that is pretty popular. Dak is, and it's not easy at first for sure. And Rad probably knows more about it than me. Is I do fasting too.
Yeah, I've been looking at that. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I was doing 3-4 meals a day every day.
Yeah.
I would just take one meal off for a couple weeks and get acclimated to that. Then I would do another one, and you can go back and forth. And Rad, just to tell you, I do fasting too, like you do.
Good.
I only eat now because of a lot of the nerves and a lot of the situations in my life. And when I get, that it's like a heavy rock when your nerves kick off, like where it's just like my digestive shuts down when I get those nerves. Well, when I get like that, it's nothing for me to lose 7 pounds in 2 days.
Yeah.
I just won't. I can't. The eating or anything like that's the last thing on my mind when my nerves are shot. But right now, what I do, and this is more advanced, but this is just me, I only eat one meal a day. So I go 24 hours before I have a meal every day. And I'm not saying, hey, start there. That's what you got to do. There's no perfect thing. Like I said before you left, Rad, I was eating, 4 meals a day, if not more. And I would just take one meal a day, and I would do that for 3 weeks, let my body adjust itself. And then I kept going from there. Yeah. And so that's why I'm down to, 195 is the last time I weighed myself. I'm trying to find that perfect balance of holding on and retaining the muscle mass that I've built, because I don't want to lose it all. I worked my whole life for that. But I want to be fit. I want to be able to run a mile without stopping. I want to be able to do the pull-ups. I want to be able to work the mitts in boxing, because that shit smokes the hell out of you.
How old are you guys?
Go to boxing, man. That is some of the hardest workouts I've ever done.
How old are you, Father?
I am 42.
And
I'm 47.
You're 47. I'm 40. I'm 49.
Yeah, there you go.
Rad's dad.
Yeah.
Rad's dad here.
My issue, guys, sorry. My issue is I got to go slow. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but I got a really bad heart, and I have a pacemaker, actually. Yeah. So, it was saying too many women, too many pills, right?
Yeah.
That's me. So, yeah, awesome. But yeah, real good bodybuilder here. Guy who takes care of himself real good in the chat too is Island Hermit, guys. Check him out. Check his channel out. Island Hermit. He's a bodybuilder dude, and he's
good.
He's pretty cool, man.
I think we all need to subscribe to everyone's channel.
Yeah.
There's value in it. I love, again, subscribing to everyone that subscribes to me. There's value in it. It pricks interest. You got Hammerhand out there that's spreading. It's all of, what? I keep coming back to the reality is we don't hate on female nature.
No.
We understand and are aware, and then we allow what female nature can play in our life. And if you don't want female nature in your life, great. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Because you're going to work on yourself. If you want to allow it, I think, who just asked this? DKS138127. Rad, how do you not get burned? Because I'm aware. Because I know what's behind the makeup. I know what's behind the charm. I know what's behind everything. And there's 98% of them are very simple to vet within 1 to 2 days. There's a 1 to 2% chance that 1 to 2% of the women out there are decent women.
Exactly. Yeah, go through the chat if you want, man. That'd be awesome. See who's here. You want to go through the chat?
We got Don't Quit, Persevere, DKS. I got a ton of folk. Timmy Kramer in the house. Call me Coon. McDowell Cowboy.
Excuse me 1 second, guys. I'll be back.
Lord Spawn. Based is in the house. He's our trucker. I like knowing I dodged a bullet with my ex-wife. Life is good not having suffered the actual and potential problems with the W's. CJ in the house. CJ's got a good channel. Subscribe to him. If you are at the top 3 pieces of advice you would give a young man who has given up on wanting a family. You know, it's funny. What's interesting, I have a lot of guys that are African American, especially, and there's guys in Africa, Nigeria, Ethiopia. I looked at my look at your analytics.
Yeah.
And see who looks. But I think I had like 350 guys out of Africa.
Yeah, I got a lot. Yeah.
Polish guys, Japanese, all over South America, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
And we all share one thing in common: testosterone.
Yeah.
James Miller back in the house. Good to see you, CJ. No way society can survive. We're on the downs. We are literally on the downward spiral in terms of society. Weakness and feelings is what is governing this world, except in Russia, North Korea, and China. Think about that.
Yeah.
The North American continents of Canada and and the U.S. are governed by weak people.
Mm-hmm.
Where's it going? What do you think, One?
With society?
Yeah, where are we going?
I guess we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. It's to me, it's kind of getting worse by the day. You know, with the coof and the mandates and the masks, and it's just a snowball. I don't know if it'll ever stop.
Yeah. FJT's in the house. FJT's got a channel, everyone, playing his guitar. He's playing good. He's got a new, he's learning Spanish, and he's picking up guitar. He's using hobbies instead of women as his pursuit, right? What else we got? Silver Bullet.
Silver Bullet.
I've felt the exact same way, but there's always a man going through it and doing it harder. Yeah. What? Matt Downer, another classic.
Yeah. Hey, Matt Downer, how you doing, bro?
Mysterio talking about fasting. We got Lisa. Lisa is in the house.
Right on. Hi, Lisa.
Lisa from Kansas City. Cesar in the house. Island Hermit. DKS. I was lucky, no court, but thought of jumping. Everybody thinks of that. Mysterio. Boxing is great workout without Pat. But I think boxing and wrestling for younger boys is key. It makes them tough. We live in a world where being tough is considered evil, right? Man, let's see. We got Manoj in the house. He's all the way from Mumbai, India.
Wow.
Right? He's got some interesting stories from India. Guys, remember we thought Indians were completely set up with marriage and everything was hunky-dory. It's not the same.
No. I even have Muslim brothers telling me, they're not getting anymore.
Based is in the house talking about his experience. Single mothers are one of the most transparent red flags. I have a close lady acquaintance who is one of those. These always on guards. I don't hate women. I just find them pitiful. You got to be careful out there. Intermittent fasting is probably the best thing anybody can do is intermittent fasting for health and weight loss. FJT, boxing is fun. Heck yeah. Pedro Valentin, just took a tally. My divorce cost me over $250K, but I saved the house in my life. That's what's important. I'm not alone. So happy I found you. Oh, good for you, brother. You know, I budgeted $250,000 to $300,000 just in my divorce. I said if I got to that point, then I would reassess. Didn't get to that point, but I've got a buddy that spent $750,000. He's still not done after 4.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Why? Because she keeps fighting, bringing up more shit.
Yeah.
It's all about calories in versus calorie out. I would agree with that. Why not try a very low-cal diet? Well, because your body, once it burns the insulin, will burn the fat. Cut sugar out in bread. You know, if I cut sugar and bread out, I'd be all right. But I got to have at my age something that makes me happy.
Yeah.
I need some coffee, Chris. One?
Yeah, I'll send you some, brother.
Oh, my gosh. They're down here. They're like $3 at what? Cost Plus?
Yeah.
What does Mysterio say? One Dak, nothing works better than fasting. Nothing good for you. Mysterio is up in your neck of the woods. He's in Manitoba. You're in Alberta.
Yep.
Oh, Alberta is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, there's boxing gym by me. Was thinking about joining. Used to do mixed martial when I was younger. Island Hermit. Island Hermit's one of your guys?
I don't have a PC anymore.
One of your subscribers won?
Yes, definitely he is, for sure.
Good. Single mothers are pitiful, says Based. The best thing is to be civil, excuse oneself as much as possible, and stay away. Much easier. My brother was 21. He married a single mother that was 22 with a kid. He had 2 of his own with her, and they finally got divorced. That was a shit show. And he was young. Sugar is tough to quit. Artificial sugars, anyway, for me, JR. Sugar's a drug.
Yeah. Brother JR.
Polska Bob? Where's Polska Bob out of?
Chicago. Him and MGTOW Cowboy.
Oh, yeah. There's a bunch of guys out of Chicago.
Yep.
There's a bunch of guys. Call Me Coon. Check Call Me Coon's channel out. He's been growing leaps and bounds like One's channel. What's the name of your channel, Father Saunders? Is it just Father Saunders?
I think it's just Father Saunders. Yeah.
All right. Call Me Coon's got a good channel. He does good content. He's grown quick. But he'll probably be shadow banned like the rest of us. If you even mention the word WOMEN, you'll be shadow banned.
If you guys have ideas too, if you don't mind, I got an email at fathersaunders@hotmail.com.
Say it again. Put it up. Can you post? What's it at? What's your email?
fathersaunders@hotmail.com.
All right, I'm going to put it up right now. We'll jump down to it. Where's it at?
That way, if someone's got an idea or anything like that, or maybe a topic that they'd like to hear me speak further on, I can go there. I can look at it. It gives me ideas and whatnot as well. My son just called me from the military. He had 5 minutes left, so I had to step away for a second.
No problem.
Absolutely.
And I don't know about that stuff today, guys. Going to the military nowadays with everything that's going on, I don't know. That's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah.
Yep. John Boston in the house. John Boston is great. He's been through a shit show as well. He spent X amount of dollars and 3 kids and with the shit show of a wife through the court system. Him and I have very similar stories. CJ in the house. Check his channel out. You know what I like? I like black guys that do channels like this.
Yeah.
I love to hear their experience because their culture is much different than our culture, and it's not that it's massively different. It's just they're different. I mean, we're different. It's just different heritage and so forth. And I love hearing their stories because they're so similar. It doesn't matter your skin color, your race, where you live, what language you speak. I got guys from Mexico, Philippines, Japan telling me the same story.
Yeah, definitely. MGTOW doesn't see color or creed or race or religion. MGTOW is MGTOW, right?
I had a question for you guys because I was thinking about this the other day, and I can't think of very much difference. What's the difference between being a MGTOW and a confirmed bachelor?
I'll leave that one.
You know what's funny? Greg Adams brought this up. He was talking about MGTOW has a weird connotation about a bunch of fat guys sitting in a basement hating women, right?
Yeah.
That are divorced. And he said, I'm going to take a free agent approach. I'm just going to be the captain of my life. And I've taken it the same way as I'm the captain of my plane. I decide who gets to ride, when I fly it, where I fly it, how I fly it, and who gets to go through the boarding gate.
Yeah.
If you want a gal to come on for a half-hour flight, great. If you want a gal to come on for a 30-hour flight, great. If you don't want any gals, great. That's my version of MGTOW.
Yeah, exactly.
Rad's version is 3 times and move on to the next.
Yeah.
The 98%ers are exactly that. It's 3 or less.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. If it falls in my lap, I guess, but I'm definitely not looking for it right now. It took me till now at 42 and I'm being honest with you guys, it took me till now at 42 to get control over my urges and whatnot, because I was all about that life.
Yeah.
At one time. And when I was divorced, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I mean, I went out and I just dated and dated and dated.
Same.
And then after a while, I was just like, you know what? This shit just ain't for me. I can't do this shit no more. It's empty. It's not a fulfilling experience. You get satisfied, but it's not fulfilling. Kind of like having a job that you go to, but it's not fulfilling. You kind of go. And of course, the dating scene now is, like we talked about, you're not going to compete. You're not going to compete unless you're freaking Chad. Unless you're Chad.
Yeah.
And you meet all these requirements, because I did go to the dating sites, and up until 2017, I had a lot of good interactions. I really did. And after 2017, it seems to be that 2016, 2017 bubble is when things just started to it didn't just go down. It was a freaking water slide.
Yeah, I agree. You're right.
Water slide.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah, it was in the dating market. Anyway, it was.
I mean, as far as entertainment, movies, music, comics, video games, it like got infiltrated overnight.
Yeah.
In my from what I've seen.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, oh, you just have to look harder. Just look harder. Are you kidding me? What do you mean look harder? If you have to look harder and harder for things, that just means that you're just proving my point. Because we didn't have to look hard in the 90s, in the 2000s.
No.
Good stuff was everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. You know, I don't know what's going on with our culture right now. People talk about collapse or this and that and the other. I don't know anything about that. I don't really have any predictions. But I do know that the life that we're living now was about as far as you could get from what I believed it would be when I was a kid growing up.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure. Even in my 20s, which is not that long ago in the grand scheme of time, I never saw what you see today happen. No way in hell.
No
way.
Oh, well, hope dies last, right?
Yeah.
We got a couple ladies in the chat. Marcella is in the house. You know, there are women that value this content. It makes them better, and it makes them look for men that are on purpose. Yeah. Again, we all failed when we put a woman center to our life. When OneFast married, or got with the gal with 3 baby, he wanted to help. He wanted to help these kids and her.
Yeah.
And when we get in that mind frame, we typically lose.
Yeah. Well, we let our guard down. And then when you do that, that's when it happens.
Mm-hmm. Well, also, you're right about the letting your guard down. Absolutely, 100%. And now I lost my train of thought again. God dang it. Don't get blown up, guys. It messes with your head. Yeah. The short-term memory loss is a real deal. Mm-hmm. What the hell was I going to say? Oh, to piggyback on what you're saying, Rad, this content, I don't understand why any female would get mad at it, because it helps them too.
Yeah.
A lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more than people give it credit for.
Yes.
Because it's teaching them to look for the right guys. You know what I'm saying? So that, if you want to talk about pair bonding and all that stuff, so that you're not getting smashed and dashed and all these things. It teaches them about healthy relationships, or things to look for, or what to work on yourself. Mm-hmm. As long along with us guys, it helps women just as much. But most women will be like, "Oh, who hurt you? You must be gay. Who hurt you? You must be gay," or "Oh, you didn't offer anything," or whatever the hell they want to say. And if you noticed, a lot of counterpoints that people say against us are parroting what men have already said. We already came up with the stuff, and you're just re-parroting what men already said. You're trying to take masculine into yourself. It's almost like a lot of modern women are women, or are men in women's bodies. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't want masculine. A heterosexual man does not want to date a masculine woman. We don't want to date one of the dudes. No. If you got a mouth like a sailor, and you're always combative all the time, and you always got to be one up on other person, and the second you walk in the door, instead of waiting 15 to 20 minutes before you talk about some of the issues of the day, and they come at you right away. It's just like, gee, no, who wants to come home to that?
Exactly.
Who wants to come home to that?
I was at the gym today at 10 in the morning. I was watching this real meathead guy, maybe 30 years old, just huge. He probably can't even tie his shoes. And the gal he was with was lifting 45 pounds. She was probably 120, 45 pounds on each deltoid. Now I can do 45 by 10, 90 pounds with shoulder press, no problem. She's doing it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm just looking at her going, that's a masculine characteristic. She should be doing 15 pounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's insane.
45? 90 pounds on a woman, that's 3/4, if not more, of just her weight. And I just thought to myself, this is not attractive. That's a masculine character. We like women that are feminine, that
fit, feminine and friendly.
Yeah.
That aren't mouthy, that are co-pilot, that love to have the feminine. We don't want a masculine woman. No. And society is flipped. Society thinks men want bulky, mouthy, masculine women. We don't want that.
No, I don't. The way that a lot of these people dress too, and you're going to be addressed the way that you come dressed. Mm-hmm. All right. If you're dressed with all this revealing clothing and whatnot, and you got all these guys after you, that does not mean that you're valuable to a guy that's of his means. That's going to turn him away. Right. Oh, I've got 100 dudes in my DMs. Do you think that makes you valuable to someone like me? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Just because 100 men want to get with you does not mean 100 men are going to stay with you. It's a big difference between sexual market value and relationship market value. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. You're not going to find very many. If you go in there and say yes, 9 out of 10 men are going to take that hit. Okay. Yeah. But are they going to stay with you? That's the issue. You're not valuable because 100 different men want you.
No,
it's not that way. It's not that way. And another thing I would have told myself when I was 20 years younger, I would have said, take everything that the women told you that they want from a guy, and I want you to flip it, because it's not what they want. They want the exact opposite. I know, because I used to be that emotional tampon, and the girls would download their stuff on me, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm the guy you're talking about that you want, but you're not with me. You're going home with all the guys you say you don't want, with the qualities that you're telling me that you don't want in a man. So whatever they tell you, it's exact, not exact, but the majority speaking, it's the opposite of what they're telling you.
Exactly. I heard a guy tell me once, and I've always listened to it, never believe what a woman says in less than half of what they do.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep. It's funny. I get comments from gals on my channel, and you're probably getting them one. Women will start commenting. They usually say, who hurt you? They'll say, that's not me. You don't understand women. I say, do you date them?
Yeah. I've got a lot of women commenters, and they've been good. They've kept it pretty clean. They were pretty good. So
as you grow, more and more women find it's interesting. A lot of gals say they're in happy relationships and marriages, but they're watching my channel about, top reasons women divorce men, or, it's like, how did you find this channel? If you're so happy, you should be subscribing and watching videos that say how to increase the happiness in my marriage, not looking for divorce statistics.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing too is I'm sitting there wondering, with especially if a lot of the women we're talking about have sons, would you want your son to date you, a version of you?
It's a good one.
Would you want that? Because a lot of these women are going to see their sons going through things that we're going through now, and then you're going to look at it and be like, yeah, it doesn't feel very good, does it? Now your son's going through it. Maybe you should have listened.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have freaking listened, because I'm going through, or your son, our son, whatever, is going through exactly what you did to their father.
Yep. I want to shout out to Absolute Knowledge Seekers. He's got a good channel. We've done some collabs. You guys should do some collabs with him.
Yeah, for sure.
Email. So what's funny about Chads? Chads get cheated on too. They get monkey branch too.
Oh yeah, the monkey branch.
Just because they can slay poon quick doesn't mean they're not susceptible. And a lot of those guys are emotional in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of them end up being not the Chad. They become the beta bucks provider.
Yeah.
Remember, I see a lot of guys at the gym that look like Chads, but internally, they're wimpier than you can.
Yeah.
They're wimps.
Yeah.
So so I had a couple guys I knew that were Navy SEALs. Everyone thinks the Navy SEAL 6'4", 240, 8% body fat. These guys were 5'6".
Wow.
Let me tell you, a quicker soldier is a better soldier. It's not going to be the bulky guy, I promise you, because you got to learn how to shoot, move, and communicate. And if you're a big tanky guy, you're not moving as well as you be shooting and communicating. Mm-hmm. And if you can't do that, it's going to be based on the weakest person in that squad.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to move quick, fast, and in a hurry, and with purpose. You move with a purpose. And if you're carrying extra weight, you ain't moving with the purpose that they need you to, especially at that elite level. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's so many misconceptions. Guys, at the end of the day, you got to work on yourself. You got to put yourself on the pedestal, make yourself the best version possible. Quit putting women, and I mean all of us, quit putting women central. They should be a complement if you allow them into your life. Mm-hmm. Your purpose is what is attractive to them.
And, I think that's what was hard for people like us, too, is we're not used to putting ourselves first because we were told not to.
Yeah, exactly.
We were told not to our whole life. It was about everybody else.
Yeah.
And once you do that for so long, you're going to sit there and you're going to be in that mirror and that self-reflection, which is called growth, which most people don't have. Yeah. That's how you grow, is we were told not to be selfish, not to put yourself first at all, ever. Well, if you're not good with you, how are you going to be good for anybody else? If you're not happy with the person staring back at you in the mirror every day, how the hell are you going to make any type of meaningful relationship if you don't got you down?
Yeah.
And a lot of people need to do that. If you're not happy with the person looking at yourself in the mirror, then you got to fix you first.
Yeah.
And I don't have the perfect answer for that. But the first step in problem solving is identifying the problem.
Yeah.
So if you identify that problem first, that's the first step. A lot of people don't even make it there.
You're right.
You're farther than a lot of people ever make it.
Yeah.
So start there.
Yeah. Well said. For sure. For sure.
This has been a great stream, guys. I mean, just the fact that we've got great comments coming through. I'm just flipping through them. We got women in here. We've got men. We've got young guys. We've got guys. Michael's from Denmark. We've got different, all sorts. And we're all helping each other on how to move forward based on what we've experienced. And those guys that haven't experienced this, they're lucky. Now, we know more about what we've been through in female nature than anybody else because we've experienced it. We know what the court is. All three of us have dealt with cruisers coming to the house. We've dealt with courts. We've dealt with modifications. We've dealt with taking on living with women and children, if not having our own or taking on others. We've dealt with the fallouts. And this is just a way to make guys aware that the most important person is the one staring back at you in the mirror. Work on that guy, because if you work on that guy, you can go through everything.
Absolutely.
We want to fix everything. Men want to fix. You know why guys get with single moms? I know they love them, but they want to fix the relationship to make it even better, which I think is a commendable pursuit.
Yeah.
It is.
What happens?
It is. It's commendable. I will always honor that, but rarely ever does it work out. Rarely ever. Mm. But that is, for a guy to do that for another woman and her children and be the father figure in that person's life without stepping on any toes of the real father, which is a whole nother topic. There's honor in that. There's absolute honor in that. But I cannot recommend anybody to do that. I can't, and it sucks saying it. It really sucks saying it, because you could be a very good, positive role model for those children. Absolutely. And they might not ever know that because it always falls apart.
Yeah.
But then what falls apart, if they keep going on and dating more and more people, well, now your kids are going to have trust and attachment issues because they keep seeing these people come in and out of their life.
Oh, yeah.
I can't recommend that. I can't recommend anyone do it, no matter how much you may love her, the children, which is another thing, because you get attached to the children. If that ends, that relationship you have with children is over. It is over, period.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the intent is authentic, right?
Yeah.
The intent in wanting to really be a part of a a child that's not yours life to help a family. But in the end, it's so risky.
Very, very, very risky. I can't advocate for it. I can't do it.
So where are you guys today? I don't think you're dating that much, right?
Do I date? No, I'm monk, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not. I wouldn't consider myself monk, but I'm definitely not looking for it at all.
And tell the guys out there, what do you do to curb the desire to lay horizontal with women? Where is that desire existent? Where does that desire lead to?
Well, if you can find a way to displace that energy, the first thing is displacing that energy, because that energy is not going to just go away. Yes, you can fight it, but let's be real. A lot of people, when that testosterone kicks in, testosterone is not just the male sex hormone. It regulates many hormones in the male body. Your sleep, your mood, your appetite, your sex drive. A lot of things come with testosterone. Now, we're older, not old, we're older. We're in our 40s. So we, I think, have the experience and the age and all these things that we can use to our advantage to help combat that. It's not going to be the same as it is for a 20, 25-year-old, because that's, their testosterone is way up here. So part of it's physiological. The other part is you've got to have good hobbies, or what they consider copes. You got to keep yourself busy. You know how busy our minds are. You got to keep that busy with your physicality. So if you got a full-time job, outside of that, you're going to have a lot of time to sit there and your mind's going to race. What am I missing? Sometimes I think about it. What am I missing? Why am I not out here? Am I missing anything at the club? Am I missing anything on this get together or this house party or whatever the case may be? And you're always going to have those thoughts. It's not, but if you can displace that, whether it's like Dak, you are really good with cars. I look at your garage in your video, man. You got like probably every tool that's ever been invented.
He's got every tool. I'm like, how the hell does he have so many damn tools?
Yeah,
I'm actually a 25-year journeyman automotive mechanic.
Yeah,
I'm coming to you for when I got to fix my Fortuner.
Yeah,
I was hoping that was going to come up on the stream. So I'm like, if I had a car issue, man, Dak, hey man, what do I do?
Yeah, and I also did a lot of diesel, everything. Like that's how I keep from,
See, there you go. That's your niche.
Yeah, like I build bikes, snowmobiles, cars, trucks, anything with an engine. So that's how I avoid that.
And Rad, you love your biking and your hiking, and you like to go to Mexico a lot. You have your skateboarding, whatever it is that you can find a passion in. And sometimes it's hard to find that passion, because sometimes I even ask myself, man, nothing sounds fun anymore. You're almost apathetic to life. And it's a shitty rut to be in. Yeah. And it's going to be different for everybody. But man, the best thing I could recommend outside of things like movies, video games, and the like is either join a gym or some type of fight club. Do that too, because I guarantee there's something out there for you. Whether it's weightlifting, if it's karate, if it's boxing, if it's mixed martial arts, whatever that is, if you can keep that energy and displace it somewhere else. Maybe you like to drive around out in the country and just listen to your music for 2 hours. Whatever it is, latch onto that. Don't let it become your identity, but latch onto that to displace that sexual energy.
Yeah,
because it's very hard. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sorry, Reverend 20 piece in the house. How's it going, man?
Shout out to the Rev.
The Rev.
We love the Rev. Rev's another veteran, Father Saunders. Sub to his channel. He's out in Arkansas. Probably hiking today. He's got a beer in his hand. Knowing him, he's got a dark beer.
Yeah.
Love you, Rev. Got Taurus in the house. JR, Midas, William walking through ghosts. Just fell out with my aunt because I told her I would never take a baby mama serious. You know what? We didn't get ready. We didn't get married to get divorced. We didn't take on a single mother and kids to not be there forever. But the reality is we came in contact with modern day female nature in the courts. Yeah. You can't win, guys. We're talking, I lost X amount. 175. Father Saunders, 49, just in legal fees. One's been in prison for 3 months on whacked out issues. We've had the cruisers show up at all. Do you understand what's at stake? We're not doing this for money. We don't make any money off this. We're helping young guys to stay alive and to understand. So hopefully in the next generation or two, when my grandkids are born, that this shit's changed. But it's probably not going to be likely.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of positive outlook for that. Do I hope I'm wrong? Absolutely. I don't want my kids going through this shit. Who would? Yeah. But I don't see it getting any better. I just don't see how it could. Because what it's going to take to get there is going to be just as hard, if not harder, than what we've seen society do on its downfall to get back to. Because if the damage is done, there's no easy fix, period. I just don't know what it's going to take to get there. But all I can do is the things that we do now to help people wake up and at least keep in the back of their mind before they make a potential risky situation. And they're going to be looking for stuff like this, I hope. Because Rad did it, Dak, you did it, I did it. I think my first person I subscribed to was probably Terrence Pop. And then I went from there, because he was military. So obviously I'm going to be, okay, I'm going to watch this guy. And then, of course, all the ones you guys have talked about, we're probably subscribed to many of the same channels. Yeah. To get that relatability. Because once you get that relatability, then you can start to kind of build, okay, so I'm not this isn't just me. Okay, what is this person doing? Oh, okay, yeah, I got that. Okay. And then you just kind of go from there. Yeah. And hopefully that will help, the kids that are half our age and whatnot be like, hey, man, I need someone to talk to. I need to listen. Sometimes all it takes is just to listen to somebody. You don't even have to say a freaking word. Yeah. Just listening can save a guy's life.
Yeah, one guy I'd really like to thank and to shout out is Vengeance MGTOW. May God rest his soul.
Rest in peace. Good guy. Him and I had we had several email exchanges. I always called him Ventian. Just because I knew he was Vengeance. Just a lovely, lovely human being who wanted to help even through the end. I think Hammerhand went out there and was with him at one point. But here's a guy that was on his deathbed. His lungs and his abdomen is pushing up based on where he's at. He's going on morphine and telling guys, put yourself first.
Yep. And don't get married. Don't get married.
And don't get married.
Don't get married.
And don't get married.
You know what? It's funny. A lot of people think marriage, men want to be married, women want a wedding. Okay? Yep. Men want to be married. They want to build something. We want to build. We want to create. But which one of you is going to go through the next marriage? Probably zero. Yeah. I don't believe in marriage. I don't believe in cohabitation. I don't believe in long-term, ridiculous Mickey Mouse relationships. There is a 1% to 2% chance. I'm not a fatalist. But 98% of all women are not worth it. It's hive mind mentality and programmed. Yeah. Guys, if you think that you have a 1% to 2%, does she scratch your back? Does she come and make you food? Does she put you first?
Absolutely.
Is she mouthy? Is she feminine? Does she wear a ton of makeup? She better not. Less is more. Does she do what you want her to do? Is she submissive in a good way? I don't say submission is a bad thing. Submission into the fact that you're the leader.
Yeah. Does she let you lead? That's what we mean when we say submissive. Does she let you lead? Does she allow you that frame, if you will, to lead?
Right.
Absolutely. And then a lot of people say, well, how come guys don't want to commit? To which I answer, how come you don't want to stay committed? You're initiating 80% of these divorces. You want where are the good guys? Why are they not committing? Well, why don't you want to stay committed? Why don't you answer that one?
And to be fair, men have exacerbated this issue. Weak men have allowed the courts to run. 80% of all judges are male. Yeah. 80% of all divorce lawyers are male. The law enforcement is predominantly male. I think it's 95%. Yeah. It's funny. My divorce attorney was representing a divorce judge who is going through a divorce. In fact, he would argue cases in front of the judge, and then the judge sought him out because he's the best divorce attorney in the state. And he's going through exactly what he put guys through. Think about that karma.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
You know, we live in a world, and my whole goal in life is to help somebody save themselves. I've been to too many funerals of guys that have taken themselves out. I had a guy, I lived in the apartment, friend of mine, 34, 15 years younger than me, 12 years younger at the time. 4 kids, ages 2 to 10. He married a Ecuadorian wife, and he didn't have any custody. He was living with a gal he met and his new girlfriend, which was a very nice gal. She was much older, which I thought was interesting. But anyhow, he lost a court ruling to see his kids. He had like 5% custody. He could only see the kids like Wednesday nights, every other Wednesday for like 2 hours. It was like ridiculous. Well, he went up into January about 3 years ago. Went up the mountain and had a bottle of pills and a fifth of vodka, and it was 21 degrees out in the snow. Well, they found him, but he wasn't awake. So, guys, this is what happens. Men can love. Men are hard. We love hard.
Mm-hmm.
And when we lose everything, we literally get stopped in our tracks. I don't know about you, OneFast, but when you went through what you went through, I'm sure you shut down in a lot of ways. It was hard to focus.
Oh, yeah. Just like I crawled into a little ball, rolled up in a little ball, you know. I didn't want to leave the house, didn't want to do anything. You know, depression.
It stops us in our tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's sad, but that's how men are wired.
Exactly.
We truly are protectors and providers. And, you know, we live in a world now. I mean, books have been written by women about this. The Manipulated Man by Esther Villar. The Predatory Female. Guys, there's information that was written 40 to 50 years ago based on this. Before I was born, Esther Villar wrote, 2 years after no-fault divorce was passed by Ronald Reagan, Esther Villar wrote The Manipulated Man, and she's European.
Mm-hmm.
And we have so much data now based on divorce, everything. I mean, my kids have divorced, half of their friends, if not more, are divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And we're creating literally a generation of people that don't care anymore. And thank you, government, for allowing that. Ronald Reagan said the worst thing he ever did in his presidency and his governorship of California was signing the divorce, his divorce law, no-fault divorce. Before that, you had to prove divorce. You had to prove you're unhappy. You know how hard it is to prove you're unhappy? You could prove abuse.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 13% divorce rate before 1969. 87% of people stayed married. The moment he signed that into law, every state followed. Just like the gay marriage, when gay marriage was signed in Massachusetts, within 6 months, all the other states, 90% of all states went that way. Same thing with divorce in the 60s. And even Reagan was saying the worst thing he ever did because it broke the families up. When the family is broken up, the society crumbles. You know who's going to win? Who is making families with 7 to 8 kids? I'll tell you what language they speak. Arabic.
Yeah.
In the next 50 years, do you know who's going to run this world? It's going to be under Sharia law, friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate everybody being in the chat. This has been a great stream. I'm telling you, this is valuable information because we're not just talking about, we've walked the walk. You guys have walked the walk. You've been behind bars. I've never been behind bars. I've never been in the back of a cruiser, but I've had 4 cruisers, 8 guys show up, drawn, guns ablazing. And, luckily, I was fortunate in the fact that I was logical and it was a week before our divorce proceedings, but this is a playbook, especially in American divorce.
Yeah.
And I think yours is probably worse in Canada.
It is, yeah.
Whatever a woman says is believed.
Yeah. Exactly.
Any last parting words? Let's start with you, one. Last parting words before we shut this stream down.
Yeah, just thank you everybody in the chat for being here. Thank you, Rad, Father Saunders, for having me on. It's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rad, for having me on, and Dak. I don't think this could have went any better. We just winged it, and it just turned out fantastic. I'll go watch this back later so I can look at the comments. Sorry to all the people on there if I didn't get your comments. I didn't want to interrupt what we had going. But no, I appreciate it very much. I look forward to doing. If you guys want to have me again, I'm more than down.
Awesome.
I'm sure more, but we'll do more of these. But you know, the reality is your stories are valuable, and they're going to impact somebody's life somewhere, and that's why we do this.
Yep.
That's why we do it. Appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys have a good night. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
All right, guys. Later.
All right. Have a good one.